Let's work with the new entity selector now and also the data table. We can use the entity selector to fill in the data table. What I'll do is let's bring the data table out, pin him so that he stays. We'll bring it up here right underneath the graphics window so it's right here. The data table, as you can see, let me turn off this query so it stops it. We're still on element, but the data table is currently locked. I'm going to unlock it and now fill in by picking using the entity selector. And you'll see every time I picked, the information from that element goes down into the data table. I've now filled this data table, and there's some really neat stuff we can do here with the data table. First thing I'm going to do is turn off some of the columns. I can click here and do it graphically. We already know what type these elements are. We can turn off the topology. Besides doing it with the drop down there, we can also come in here and just tear off individual pieces. And even the nodes, doesn't really matter. I really want to look at some output data here. So what I've left now is the ID. Well, we'll get rid of the property too. We have the ID for the element. We know what output vector is here. And we're also seeing the elemental centroidal values and the corner values. By clicking on the columns, I can even sort. So now I can get this down to the top 5 elements. I even want to see who he is. I can turn on highlighting and just pick, and now you notice that that element is highlighted. You can move down and look at the top 3. I can also come to the bottom and pick more than one. What I'm going to do is right click and delete these rows, and now I'm left with the top 4 only. What I'll do now is hit copy, and that information is now on a clipboard. So I'm going to Alt Tab over to Word, drop that in, and we get a nicely formatted report. We can tab back to FEMAP and also copy the graphics window to show what is being reported.